All right, team, today we are going to talk about the cash out refi. And particularly, when home values are high, is that the time to cash out refi? And the reason we're going to look at this, specifically right now is because values are very high. And, the cash out refi is something that is very sensitive to the value of the home. So when the value of the home is higher, it doesn't just help you potentially get more cash out. It helps you get a lower interest rate on the cash out that you want to get. So it's the time to take a look. We're going to look at a few different things. So this is a guide to what I call useful equity, your cash out refinance options. We're going to break it down into three different ways. For fun stuff, like a pool, for example. So we'll talk about the fun stuff. Practical, debt consolidation, economic efficiency. And then investment, ADUs, adding to the home. How can you invest your equity? So a lot of times when you're a homeowner, you'll hear about home values being higher and you kind of feel like, well, so what? Who cares? We already own a home. What are we going to do? It doesn't matter to us anymore. We already bought. Hey, that's great. Our house is up in value. So what? And so what we're kind of trying to dispel today is that this is an opportunity. If you bought a home and, even in the last year over year right now, according to Redfin in San Diego, properties are up 20% in the last year. So if you bought a house for $500,000, it's worth $600,000 approximately, right? That's not going to be exact for everyone, but that's the quick math. And you got to remember that equity, which is what that difference is, that money that you have sort of sitting in the house there, that equity is an asset. It's not just on paper. It's something that you can realize. It's something that you can take advantage of. So it's something that you have to list on your asset sheet. You have to list it as your part of your arsenal to invest potentially. And so that's a lot of what we're going to talk about. Okay, so what's the bad news? The bad news is, look, if your property has gone up in value, then your taxes are going to go up too. People get their tax bills and they're like, man, hey, I got a notice from my escrow, servicer saying that, our payment's going to go up because our taxes went up. What a bummer. No, that's great. That's great because that means that the value of your home has gone up. But what are you going to do about it? And that's what this video is about. When it's one of those things. Can be a silver lining. If property values go down, your taxes can decrease and your payment can decrease, even though you still live in the same home and nothing's changed. So it goes both ways. The good news is that equity, which is an asset, is something that you can leverage. You can utilize it for multiple ways, and we're gonna take a look at some of those ways. Option one, let's talk about fun. So what's fun stuff? I mean, the first thing, you think about improving the home in some way. Hey, we want to, build a swing set for the kids over here or whatever it may be. Or, hey, we just want a new kitchen. Our kitchen's fine, but it's just kind of old and we want to redo it. And, so there's lots of different things that you could do to quote unquote improve the home. The pool is the thing that really, sticks out to me as like the number one thing, especially in San Diego, where people are like, hey, wait a minute. Does this mean we could get a pool? We're sick of hearing the neighbors play in their pool all summer long. It's driving us nuts. A pool is something that is great. It's fun. And the reason why I'm saying these things are fun is because these are things that you should not lie to yourself about. Like, do not lie to yourself and say, hey, we're going to put $50,000 into upgrading, the kitchen and the bathrooms, and we're going to increase the value of the home by $50,000. You're not. Hey, we're going to spend $100,000 on a pool. It's going to increase the value of the house by $100,000. It will not. These are not things that you're going to get a return on the investment for. This is stuff that's for fun. That's for you to enjoy your home. And you're totally welcome to do this, but just don't lie to yourself about it. If you're going to do it, just be honest with yourself. A pool is something you can have fun for years. It's great. It does have maintenance costs. There are some things there, and you're going to spend more to get that pool there than what you're going to get out of it on the way out. So just keep that in mind. Landscaping, a lot of people want to do this. Hey, we want to totally transform the way the front and the backyard look. We want to do, drought tolerance landscaping. We want to get the turf. We want to do this, that. All that stuff is great, but this is more fun, meaning it's for you. It's for you to enjoy than it is really an investment in the home. You want to change finishes, flooring, stuff like that. Some people would say, well, hey, if you're rehabbing a house, this is what you would do. You would You would paint it, you would add flooring and do things like that. But you're doing this to live in. You're not lipsticking it to sell as a flip. So, usually you're going to pick stuff that you like, which buyers may not like, or stuff that, is a little bit higher quality than you're going to see on like flips and flip shows and stuff like that. So that's why I'm saying just be honest with yourself about it. Anything custom. Hey, we want to build a theater room over here. We want to, turn this room into a workout room. Or we want to, build some sort of tree house or some fun place for the kids to play. All that custom stuff is great. It's fun. It's fine. Just be honest with yourself about it and know what you're investing into it. Extrapolate that out over the course of, hey, we're going to be here 10 years. How much does this cost us per day to have this tree house? If it's a couple bucks a day, that's well worth it. If it costs you $50 a day or something, you might be like, what? That doesn't seem like it's really worth it. So do the math. Be honest with yourself. That's the key with the fun items. Option 2, debt. This is really where most people are going to fall and where it's going to make the most sense to do this, just purely from a penciling standpoint. Paying off debts is something that can really change, the landscape for someone's and a family's financial cash flow and outlook. I've got deals right now where people have bought their house in the last 2 years and they're paying off literally all of their debt that they were probably riddled with for years and years and years and have been for years and years and years. They're paying it all off and they're just going to have one payment with their mortgage. And that's really, really comforting. And there's a lot of monthly savings to be had there. And you have to look at long-term payoffs as well. But one thing I would not recommend is car loans. 2 reasons. Number one, car loans are good for your credit score. You want to keep them. And you don't pay a lot of interest on car loans as well. It's something, if you really look at the amount of interest you pay over 6 or 7 years with a car loan, it's not that much. So, you're paying it off now over a longer period of time and you're going to pay more for it. So I wouldn't pay off car loans. That said, some people do it. Totally okay. I tell them, hey, it's not the most efficient thing to do, but it will give you a lot of cash flow. So if you're wise with the cash flow that you get from it, you can make sense of it. And not loans that are close to being fully amortized already. Like, for example, let's say you have a student loan or something you've been paying on for 10 years and it's only got 2 years left. Well, you're paying no interest pretty much at that point. The end of an amortization, you're not really paying any interest now. So you don't want to take that loan that you have almost no interest to pay left on and put it into a loan that you do have to pay interest on if you can avoid it. Okay. So that's something to keep in mind. Here's something that comes up too: future debt considerations. So what if I have kids that are going to college? What if I have, a debt that hasn't come up yet, but that I know is looming out there in the future? I know someone who did this and he felt really good about it. I should check in with him and see how he's feeling now. But, he had a windfall of equity and took a bunch of cash out and invested it for his kids' college. He had 3 little kids who were all under 5 years old. He's like, man, this might be my only chance to actually invest for, the future debt that I'm going to have to take on to put 3 kids potentially through college. And if he invested it in anything, really, this has been 4 or 5 years ago, then he's doing really well with it right now. If he just put it in the stock market or something, doing great. Should you consider that? Yeah, why not? If you know you have debts coming down the road, then you definitely will want to have that in mind, and it makes sense to potentially plan for that. So that's something that you can absolutely do. You can absolutely do that. Makes total sense. Investment. This is where a lot of people will fall, especially right now. There's so many cool options. I mean, when you can pull cash right now, so many different ways that you can deploy it. Build an addition to the home. So remember, we talked about the fun stuff earlier. The way to actually invest in the home is to add square footage. And there's several ways you can do that, but usually it's adding an addition, an additional room, building on a bedroom, an ADU, accessory dwelling unit, adding square footage, making it not a 2-unit. Remember, when it's an ADU, it's not a second unit necessarily. You can build a permitted second unit if you want to. That would be another option, but ADU is so easy from a permitting standpoint. If you're going to add onto the home and not build it directly on to the existing structure, you're going to create a new structure. ADU is the way to go. Invest in other property. People are taking $100,000 cash out right now, and it's increasing their monthly payment by $500. and they're going and they're buying a property in Indiana, which rents for $1,200. There's lots of that going on right now. A lot of that going on where, you can pull out the cash, go and you can invest it into a different property that is going to yield you way more in monthly cash flow than what the additional payment will be. And for some people who are doing cash out and getting lower interest rates, they're not even really seeing much of a payment burden. So it's a huge, huge win. This is something that a lot of people are looking at and I think is always worth investigating. There's also the anything else people. This is kind of the group that believes that, hey, sell your winners and buy your losers is sort of the stock market lingo. But, hey, if I've got something that's doing really well, sell some of it, or in this case, pull cash out, and then go invest in something else. Just diversify it. I don't care what it is. I'm going to take it from my house and put it in stocks. I'm going to take it from my house and put it in bonds. I'm going to take it from my house and put it into a house in a different place. I'm going to, take it. I'm going to invest it into a business. Just anything else, just something to diversify where you can say, okay, we got $200,000 in equity. Let's take $100,000 out and try to let it run down its own lane. Buy Bitcoin was something a lot of people were asking me, hey, should we take some cash out and buy Bitcoin? Listen, you could do whatever you want. Bitcoin's a volatile asset, so be prepared for lots of ups and downs if you want to invest in Bitcoin. It has gone up, over time significantly, which is great. And I think it will, personally, my opinion is that it will go higher over time. But who knows? I could be wrong. So if you want to buy cryptocurrencies, I would suggest Bitcoin versus the other ones, even though it may seem like, the price is really high in comparison and it will be harder to get a return. Bitcoin is going to survive, it appears. And it's gotten through that threshold where the SEC has classified it as real property, and it's an open network. So you can't keep it from existing. There will be regulations, I think, in cryptocurrency that will cause problems somewhere along the way. It will cause hiccups, cause a crash. So if you're going to buy cryptocurrency, I would suggest buying Bitcoin, and I would suggest, buying it for the long haul, plan on owning it for decades. If you can't deal with the volatility, don't even come near cryptocurrency. But that's a big question I've been getting a lot lately. Okay, let's get to our reminders today for this video. And of course, you can always call me, email me, text me if you have questions about any of this stuff. Remember, your equity is an asset. It's easy to forget that. Equity is yours, and it is an asset. So it's something that you can use. You don't just have to sit idle and look at it like it's some sort of statue or some sort of art piece. It is something that you can utilize. It's okay to have fun with your winnings. Okay? Property's gone up in value. You can add to it. You can customize it. You can add a pool. You can do those fun things. Just know the truth. Be honest with yourself. Don't lie to yourself and go and put some $150,000 crazy pool in when a $75,000 pool would have done the trick, and think that you're going to get that back out when you sell the home. Be smart about it. Understand it. Be honest with yourself. I would say, don't pay off car loans with a mortgage or anything that's towards the end of its amortization life. It's okay to consolidate your debts, and it's okay to do this as long as you know what you're doing and you know the truth about it, which is what I will provide to you if you reach out to me about this. So if you want to get started with any of this stuff, all you have to do is go to derrickevans.com. That will forward directly to both on your phone and on your desktop the application link, or you can just click the refinance button there. Start your application. You can upload your income documents and stuff like that securely there as well, so that we can get you a quote for your refinance and run through and strategize with you on, hey, what's going to be best for you? What's going to work best for you and your family based on what you're trying to accomplish? How can we help you? That's what I'm here to do. So feel free to reach out when you get a chance. And at the end of the day, just know that I will shoot you straight. So if you're about to do something that doesn't make economic sense or logical sense, I will tell you. That doesn't mean I won't help you do it. I'm not going to discourage you, but I am going to be honest with you. So if that's what you're looking for, give me a shout. Appreciate it, and we'll see you guys soon.